Yo, what's up? How you doing, Knock? Hey, Blue. Tobias. Yo. James on art. What's up, man? How you doing? What is good? Happy Sunday. Dope. Dope. Just closing the stream critiques channel. Finally caught me live. What's up, man? How you doing? I gotta turn my webcam back on. Oh, yeah, I'm shorter now too. I raised the monitor because, you know, gotta take care of that back. How's it going? Does everything look okay? Yeah, everything's not right. It's okay. Yeah, we're gonna look at James' work and Emmett. Is it Emmett? I think it's Emmett. Or Amit. I'm not sure. So we're going to look at these two, then we're going to do the stream critiques, and then if there's time, we will go back to me converting stuff into Unity. I haven't fully committed, but I'm interested. Yeah. All right. James, my man. James joined the Discord as a technical artist and has since gotten pretty deep into substance designer. I know, to be honest, there's not too much to convert because I'm slow and all. Dude, it's way faster in Unity for me for some reason. I don't know why. All right, so let's get into this. So we've got James Lucas. It's in Sydney, Australia, pushing towards being a texture artist. Well, I guess technically he is because he's freelance. I'm sure he's doing something. Look at all those views. So it looks like he's got a pretty good assortment of substances. Natural to organic. Man-made, hard surface. That's interesting too that now Artstation separates these out like this. What's up, Freezy? This isn't Monday. My world is collapsing. Yeah. How you doing? I had a little bit of free time today, so got to catch up since Friday I couldn't stream. Had to sleep. All right, so let's start going through these. So obviously that's it's very tiley. It's a pretty decent first attempt, I think, at rock. While I'm not a substance pro, Maru's teeth look vicious. Yeah, I'm okay. He knows where his teeth are at and where my skin is, so he just doesn't pull the trigger. Doesn't fully pull the trigger on biting down. So I would say we need to look at shapes, like how shapes form. Mainly it's like This pattern is a very, it's a weird one as far as like how that forms in the natural world, I guess. That, and I think you've got it tiling pretty high here, so like you're seeing the repetitiveness of the shapes. Hey, what's up, Reeds? How you doing? It's good though, the fact that you're struggling. So if anyone ever like is like, oh man, that looks brutal, you're like, dude, you know why it looks brutal is because I was pushing myself. Boom. You know, like the fact that you've done this and committed to attempting to push it, pull it off, you know, that's good, man. That means you're pushing yourself. I expect the next rock to be amazing though. Let's see here. So yeah, I guess the albedo looks pretty good. The crevices in general are kind of filling the space with this kind of brown dirt, but it seems to be multi-directional dirt. Like it's not top down. Like it's like you're expecting it to be like on the tops of this, and then going inward towards the midpoint of the crevice, like here, and then down. This would all be kind of dirty, right? But I think what yours is doing, let me check again just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Well, yours is doing it for the most part. Like see where the dirt is here? Like, yeah, okay. No, I think it's okay. I was gonna say I think it was evenly distributing along both directions when we have to think about gravity and stuff, you know. But think about how like rocks layer. Like that's all rocks are, right? Or stone is just layered rock. Like when it fractures or chips, it exposes the next layer under it. It's like natural paint, if you will, like on a macro level. And then be careful with continuous shapes that in the albedo that flow together. Like this one is okay as long as it doesn't happen too often. But like you can see this kind of flowy stuff going on, so it's kind of getting a little bit of a marbly feel. What's up, Reddington? But yeah, I suspect Josh Lynch is going to be. How are we looking at Josh Lynch? Oh shit! I assume Josh Lynch is going to be posting a tutorial on his recent stone rock work, his natural rock work. So expect that in the future. Seems the roughness is pretty spot on. It feels like rock that you would see in like what is it? Like an amusement park? A good amusement park, of course, like a Disney. Like you should watch the making of the Cars track for Disneyland. I think it's Disneyland, maybe it's Disney World. But those people, man, they researched the shit out of rocks just to get it just right, and they sculpted that stuff. Freaking crazy to me. Let's move on here. So this one's pretty cool. I'm curious, I would really like to see like an extra slide at the very end of this showing like some of the reference you were pulling from, because there's very specific details that are happening. Like specifically these like squiggly like vertical lines that are happening in the stone. And then especially these ones, they're very unique, right? So it's like, okay, definitely was looking at reference, had to have been. But what does that mean? Like where is that coming from? I would love to see reference. It could just be at the very end, be like a collage of a couple different images. So this looks like it's your AO. Whoa. Whoa. Noon. Thanks for the follow, man. Star Wars Q, thanks for the follow as well about an hour ago. And Nathan, dude. We're just gonna, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks a buttload. A metric 499 ton. Does that work? I don't know if that works. I think it's okay to Frankenstein. Lynch Twin Peaks. Yeah, I think having a reference. So you've got your AO, albedo, normal, and I'm gonna say that this is the roughness, right? Is there a reason that the crevices are darker? I'm guessing that's roughness. That might be height. That might be height. Because it's kind of looking like it's roughness. So it's really interesting that the inside is darker. But as far as like this chip up here, that's really nice. It's cool that it's not everywhere, and I like the depth of like how much range there is between the stones. It's subtle, but it's there, right? Because reality is pretty subtle. For the most part, unless we get intentional with it. Yeah. No, the variety of the colors and shapes are pretty cool. There's a little bit of squiggle happening here, like, which feels strange to me. I think it feels weird to me because it feels like where this dips, this dips as well. It's not happening there, but here, for example, it goes like this. It goes that way. Could be crazy. I could be crazy. Overall, though, I think this material was successful. It's pretty cool looking. I think some more range between the different colors in your roughness would be nice. Just to try it out. Or like when, dude, this is the perfect material to make a wetness map of. So essentially, make a map that's a black and white. And the blacker the map is, the more water can saturate that material. And the lighter that it is, the less it can saturate that material. So if you think soil is black and marble, for example, or plastics are white. Plastics don't absorb water, right? Marbles don't really absorb water, but dirt and like porous materials, porous rocks and stuff do. What happens when that absorption occurs with water, the porosity, they call it a porosity map at Naughty Dog, but that makes sense. It's porous. It's a porous map. What happens is the albedo tends to become more saturated and deeper in value. How much, I think, is kind of, I'm sure there's a science to it, but I would say not too saturated and not too dark because it needs to be inside of PBR range. So like if you had like elements in here where like these darker lines actually can absorb more water than the lighter stuff in a map, and then you showed like a wetness mask on top of that. What's up, Joe? You could show what happens when the rock gets wet. That'd be so sick, man. That'd be next level. No one's really showing that on Artstation. This one I really like. This one's pretty impressive. The AO in there is sick. The roughness again is really, it's really odd. I'd be curious to see what this looks like. I guess it's this one, right? I'd be curious to see what it looks like with just the roughness and normal on it. I guess the AO as well, just so you get some depth. The darkness in the AO here, I would say probably gets a little too extreme. Like this area here feels pretty good. I say extreme because when you have this tiling across the wall, right? That dark spot, you're gonna see it like when it's in shadow. This is pretty sick though. It's nicely done. I really like how some of the areas, like you see it in the normal, some of the areas are almost void of the deep crevices, and the stone and the grout are almost on the same level. That's really cool. The grout, I actually know what that feels like just looking at it. Like I know what that feels like when I grab it and break it, because I've seen and broken that stuff before. Yeah, the human eye, like, we're just used to things. It's kind of like characters, right? Character art is really hard because you have to be able to nail... You've touched Rocky, you. You have to be able to nail, like, a character's exact, like, proportions, even if it's second of his name. Terracin, thanks for the follow, dude. Yeah, so like characters are a good example of when you go too far outside of the comfort range of proportion and scale, you just immediately look like a bad artist. Whereas like a good artist can, once they understand a good character artist, once they understand proportions and how the body is formed, like how the forms are and all that stuff, it makes it much easier to exaggerate it and create stylized characters. But yeah, that's I think James, that's probably the main reason you want to look out for Frankensteining too many references together. That's probably where your concern comes in. So this one was really cool. I like the treatment of like how the paint interacts with the road. Because, you know, as cars drive over it, as wear and tear occurs, the paint will chip off of the higher points first, right? It's really cool. Now, we did talk about this on the Discord, on the Empire Discord, about like how this would actually be applied in a game engine, and most likely they would have this the paint strip as like a decal, or they would map it in another UV set. And in that shader, or in one of the shaders, would be the interaction for how this breaks apart. So no matter where you're placing it, it will always chip the paint the same way in the exact spots that it needs to. But the true test of asphalt or road surfaces is to put it on a road. So I'd really like to see like this stretched across the plane, just so you see what it looks like as it goes into the distance. Because that'll tell you how it's holding up, you know. You know, what was that? I heard something. Ah, there it is. Babosh, thanks for the follow. Hello, Judd, how you doing? The police coming for me? Can you hear sirens? I hope not. Like these, I would say maybe on the road surface, these feel a little large, but I think you'll end up tiling it more anyways. This one, I really love this one. There's like so many subtle imperfections in the dents and stuff like that. There's a little bit of, I guess it's tiling a lot, so you get to see some of that procedural wobble that's happening, like right here. It's like, and you can see the wobble travel through the, you know what I mean? Through the entire material. This spot right here might be getting a little too extreme. I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see it's wobbling pretty heavily. It might depend though. I think it might be just slightly too strong. The roughness on this is much better. And the albedo is pretty cool just because, like, you know, metal surfaces. Hey, Dimon, what's going on, man? Again, I would really like to see this, like, if James, if you could partner up with an artist that needs materials for his personal work, and then just do the requests for him or her. Like, he's like, oh, I need a rooftop, like, zinc material that looks like this, and gives you an image, and then you make it and they use it in the scene and then credit you. You'll get your name out there as a substance designer really quickly, I think, doing that type of stuff. Oh, dude, nice programming. I envy. Well, I don't envy, but I'm proud. I'm proud of programmers because they do something that I just can't do it, and I greatly appreciate, in my eyes, their sacrifice. And I'm especially happy when it's something they like doing. So, more power to them, right? That's awesome, though. Congratulations, game development. Yeah, I'm not one of those programmer guys. Can't do it. But I greatly appreciate it. Appreciate programmers because they make everything for the artist easier. That's the goal. Easier, faster, better looking. Workflows, everything that requires game engine. The programmers love them. Jopi, how you doing? Thanks for the resub, 3 months, yo. Thanks a lot. So this wall, now that I've had my little spiel, this wall is fucking cool. It's a concrete plated wall. Again, I would love to see reference. I'll quit saying that just because, you know. So this looks really good. Really good looking. This darkness in the between the layers, it feels, I think that's too dark. Like if I had to, hang on here. Dude, pretty lights. This artist, this group, they are so good live. All right, yeah, so that's straight up, that is black in your albedo. So for PBR purposes, I would not really go below this in value, and I wouldn't really go past here in saturation. And then the full white, probably ignore that as well. Basically sit inside of this little space here. Hopefully that's helpful. Like you might be able to go a little lower here. But yeah, going any lower than that's pretty dangerous for being physically correct because nothing gets that dark. Like I think that new material that was recently created, like sits somewhere in this range. Whoop. Like if you, I think that should be like somewhere around there. Yeah, somewhere in there. It's like, also it's better to just not use black. If you could use like a dark color that is still got color to it. Golden thirds? No way, man. I don't know what I'm doing. By the way, I guess you get this question a lot, but any good starting points for learning Designer? There are a lot of tutorials online for free, and like Obenzo was saying, I think that's Bubbles. Hey, dude. There is a really good series by Algorithmic themselves on YouTube. This looks pretty good, man. I like that one. This one feels, yeah, okay, used in a... So I feel like this material actually needs to have, for the most benefit, needs to have a few different layers. Oh, wow. Yeah, see how not dark the inside is there? You can still see a lot of value. They actually look like it's all poured as one, and this is just like a seam from the structure that was holding it together when they poured it. Oops. So with this one, I would suggest maybe like getting a double or triple blend material going with different frequencies of the desert sand, like waves, if you want to, like the crests, so that you can paint between them to get it to blend and kind of break itself up. And then just get like a filler sky that you can find online for free, right? And just make some desert hills that just go off into the distance, because it's the best way to present this type of material. It does feel pretty saturated, and it's much more stylized, I think, with the way that you have these highlights happening in them. Like, I actually don't think there's going to be highlights like that unless there's a certain type of stone or sand inside of the sand that's what do you call it? That's physically lighter than the rest of the sand. That stuff ends up blowing around and cresting on the tops. Whereas like another type of sand might build up in the lower areas of this, like the ravine type rocks. So much of your work is oversaturated. So I'll say the sponge one's pretty fucking cool, man. This looks really expensive to render. Like, what's the resolution on this? A ravine! A ravine! I don't know if you need another color of the sponge. This is also, dude, if you want to do another type of sponge, 4K, hell yeah. If you want another type of sponge, I would just use the blue one, but then have it used. You know, when sponges get used up too much and they start to get the bigger pockets and they discolor around the edges, kind of break up more, and like there's little fragments of stuff that should have totally been washed out of the sponge but is still there. Blech. Do that. That'd be sick. This is impressive though. This looks really good. Just so you guys have it, I'll drop this in chat. There we go. This one is really cool. This is also a substance which is just pretty impressive. You can see it in the height map. There's a lot of procedural stuff happening in there. And the leather pattern is probably where it's breaking down the most. It just looks it's very procedural, and the pattern seems very large. Still pretty sick though. Oh, your roughness is really strange. I don't know. I think leather's pretty uniform throughout its roughness. Like the range in the overall range inside of the leather would be very close together. But it is good to have that variety too. Some nasty body hairs in there. Gross. Gross, blue. Yeah, sponge one's cool. I really like this one, and the moss in here turned out really nice. Like the color is spot on. There's not too much of it. It's kind of building up where you expect it to build up. Pretty dope. This one's actually one of my favorites. Look at that profile. This one's also really cool. See, this shape doesn't show this off very well because it's wrapping so hard. Yeah, seeing it on this one is much stronger. Oh shit, real time. Real time. Oh, but no height map displacement. That's brutal. I wouldn't put this in here unless there's displacement. And why can't I... Is the center like out here? You gotta center that so people can rotate around it. I guess you can... Oh, that's weird to me. I have no idea why the pivot did that. Yeah, I think the height map is definitely most of what makes this work really well. If you can't render a height map, I would totally just go in and model this and just extrude the pieces out. Like the primary pieces, just to get that depth. Let's look at this one. So saturation wise, yeah, I would agree that this is it's pretty saturated, but I don't know. Let me see here. It's not too bad. Like the other thing is it's nice to have color hits. And you can always desaturate, right? You can always desaturate later. Desaturate's not really how you want to get the color though, right? Like look at that, I removed the greens. Maybe there's yellows in there. Yeah, so there's a lot of yellows in here. So I'll just paste that on top and we can look at the... It's not too much. Can you use height maps inside of Marmoset Viewer that's uploadable? No, you cannot, sadly. So your substance portfolio is pretty solid. I'm not going to click on very many of the others. I think that you need to take another pass on most of your roughness throughout your materials. This one's actually the strongest one roughness-wise. Let me see the roughness on this one. This one's pretty good as well. But I would take another pass on your roughness of your materials. Roughness on this one's great. You can actually make your roughness map like a 128 and not notice. This one is also solid. Like that might be getting a little dark. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's one I kind of wish I had a real time of. Yeah. So let's see here. I would say if you can get your roughness values in tune, I mean, you're already in a position, I think, where you can get at least an internship as a substance artist. But I really would like to see you build some scenes using your substances. Kind of goes against the whole substance artist thing, but I don't know. I need to see use cases. Like, I need to see how it's used. Like, it could be as simple as, like, just taking this and putting it on the side of, like, on the side of a building wall that meets the ground that you've made of this, and then adding a few little branches and props and a few plants to get those to marry together, and then you've got a scene that shows off your materials. But yeah, nice, James. This is looking super solid. You've been kicking these out like crazy too, so nice work. All right, I'm going to switch over to the next portfolio, and then we will get on to stream critiques. I'll be right back.